Okay, yeah, okay. Excuse me, are you on?
Thank you, thank you.
How are you? Happy New Year. Yeah, I'll let you leave.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Fine. How you doing? Please miss a meeting or something?
I'll send it first thing in the morning.
All right.
But I would imagine that he would probably be one of the choices. Very good at what he did, too.
I already took care of it for you.
It's so good.
Vice Mayor, you look nice. I sent you I forwarded you an email about what we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
To answer both of our questions.
All right,
So.
thank you.
Happy New Year.
Here to you. In fact, we haven't seen any of these. I took the week off before. I figured. Oh, yeah.
How are you?
No, I can't remember. The code says that they have to be finished by, I think the end of May. If I'm not mistaken, it says that all hearings will be held in April and May.
Who's praying tonight?
I'll do that, just so you have it.
I probably got it somewhere.
Linda Moore, West End United Methodist. Good evening.
You're doing real good, huh? Going back in time?
It's the coffee. Got me started all over again.
Oh, he was there before.
Yeah, I know.
He did an outstanding job. Just because of his heart problems, he, couldn't, and then he had his heart transplant. He's all oxygen and so forth, so he's in good shape now. So,
There wasn't a vacancy down there.
like I say, I'm first thing.
Let him know that after the
Section
introductions,
to
they
talk
can
about the board.
let him know.
We're gonna have our
Furlough, yeah, furlough notice, both of them.
March, I'm gonna take the month of March, and then the DOE will pick up.
I told Burrow today, get in the room so I can get caught up on where everything is. On a couple. Good to see you.
Hi, sir.
Definitely before this month is done. Talk to the doctor about getting out of the way, hopefully by next week. That's the name of the phone. Oh, okay. Hey, try to get this part cleared out right now.
It's
5 o'clock.
Yeah, we gotta get that done.
Because you got.
But since they the code change, it makes it better because then you don't have to worry about the first they don't convene here like they do in Suffolk. They'll meet, they'll set up a meetings, and then just go from there. We don't have that. So it makes it a little bit easier.
When is your big day to present?
As it stands right now, it's going to be the 8th of March. I have not notified.
Thank you for that email. They found all kinds of problems.
Okay.
Because I just got an iPhone, so they're like,
Like
oh.
a message that came across. Waiting for a couple of things. Probably tomorrow.
No, I'm not saying that. How long?
Evidently, that's been happening all over the place.
We usually allow 30
Ready?
because they have questions.
Then I'll just add.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of City Council. Please attend the call meeting of the City Council to be held in the 6th floor conference room, 801 Crawford Street, 5 p.m., Tuesday, January 12, 2016, for the purpose of a public work session. In addition, you may consider a motion to go into closed meeting by order of the mayor. Mr. Cherry?
Here.
Dr. Edmonds?
Here.
Mr. Meeks? Mr. Moody?
Here?
Ms. Simmons?
Here.
Dr. Whitaker? Mayor Wright?
Here. Good evening, how are you doing?
Floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Happy New Year, and I didn't even think it's a new year until Councilman Edmonds came in and said Happy New Year. So this is our first meeting of the new year. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of City Council, during this evening's public work session, we will have 3 presentations. However, before we begin our presentations, I'm pleased to introduce 2 of our newly appointed department heads. Mr. Daniel L. Jones is the Director of Information Technology. Mr. Daniel Jones comes to us with over 17 years of experience in the areas of information technology, operations, and finance. Mr. Jones has a master's degree in management information technology, as well as a master's degree in business administration. He comes to us from the Kentucky Oil and Refining, having served as the Director of Information Technology, where he is noted for transferring and rejuvenating information technology infrastructure and cutting-edge technology. We welcome Mr. Jones. Mr. Mark W. Folo, Director of Parks and Recreation and Leisure Services, comes to us with over 20 years of experience in the fields of parks and recreation. Mr. Folo has a Bachelor's of Science degree in physical education and a minor in health education, and he is a certified playground safety inspector and a certified Parks and Recreation professional. He comes to us from Isle of Wight County, having served as the Director of Parks and Recreation for 6.5 years. Previously, he was a Recreation Superintendent for the City of Suffolk and worked with the YMCA of Southampton Roads in Norfolk, Virginia. We welcome Mr. Mark Folo. Our presentations tonight are 3. Our first presentation is the water line relocation associated with the expansion of the Commonwealth Railroad. This is a status update from the presentation made to City Council on August 25th. The second presentation is the Lake Killaby Water Treatment Filter Upgrade Project. This presentation will provide an overview of the plan for construction at Lake Killaby. And our third and last presentation will be the Downtown Sewer and Water Rehabilitation Project Phase 2. This presentation will provide a current project status, discuss the design, concept, and implementation. All 3 presentations this evening will be given by our Public Utilities Director, Mrs. Erin Tremere. Mrs. Tremere.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Member, Mayors, and Council. As Dr. Patton mentioned, I am here tonight to provide information on the update required relocation of the 30-inch water transmission line in the right-of-way in Suffolk. As you recall, I was here in August and discussed this project in great detail. I'll give you
Want to move? Let me see it.
Okay, that'd be great. As you recall, I was here in August and discussed this project in great detail. I'm here to give you a brief summary now of some of the key points. The Port of Norfolk is expanding their operations at the Virginia International Gateway Terminal, and they have currently 95% design plans completed, and they're anticipating construction of this project beginning this year and completion by July of 2019. The expansion of the port will increase the number of freight cars leaving the port on rail, and as such, the Commonwealth Railroad is anticipating an increase in production and installing an additional marshalling yard. The marshalling yard is used for temporary storage of rail cars and is necessary in this portion of the railroad as it is a single track. The marshalling yard will be constructed from Sportsman Boulevard west towards the Nansman-Wilroy Road intersection. Both the city of Norfolk and Portsmouth have water lines within the right-of-way, and the city of Portsmouth is there by permission pursuant to our agreement of 1963, and as such, we must move our water line upon their request. This slide was presented to you in August and shows the location of the water lines in relation to the existing railroad. Portsmouth will need to relocate their 30-inch water line located here, and Norfolk will have to relocate their 40-inch water line located here. Both of these water lines will be relocated to the north of our existing 42-inch water line, which is currently in our own easement. While we are required to relocate our water lines, we have teamed with Norfolk in an effort to reduce the financial impact on both localities. There's an obvious cost savings in having one design engineer, one construction contract, and one project.
That's good.
In partnering with Norfolk, Portsmouth will share 40% of the construction and engineering costs associated with this project, while land acquisition will be divided proportionally, with Portsmouth paying no more than 40% based on use. It is planned that Norfolk will take the lead on this construction project, and we are currently working on a contract terms with them that's being negotiated. An update of significance tonight is the proposed funding source. We had previously discussed in the fall the possibility of HB2 funding. However, that was not a viable option. I'm here tonight because the parties involved have a desire to apply for a rail enhancement fund. The Rail Enhancement Fund is administered by the Department of Rail and Public Transportation and is used to subsidize railroad operations. The Commonwealth Transportation Board has final approval of all of these grants. Both the port and the railroad have current grants through the Rail Enhancement Fund. However, these grants do not include the cost of relocating utilities. This application will be a separate grant under the Rail Enhancement Fund and will include the cost for relocating these utilities. The railroad is taking the lead on a joint application and is teaming with the Port, Norfolk, and Portsmouth on this effort. This grant funding requires a 30% contribution match. The estimated construction cost of this project is $15 million. Based on that estimate, the city of Portsmouth and Norfolk will need to match approximately $4.5 million. $2.7 million will be matched by Norfolk and $1.8 or approximately $2 million by the city of Portsmouth. This grant application is due February 1st of this year and will significantly decrease the expenses incurred by Portsmouth. The Department of Public Utilities currently has appropriation funding under the water transmission CIP budget in the order of approximately $11 million. And the required action at the January 26th council meeting, I will have for you an adoption resolution in support of the RAF grant fund with a 30% match by the city.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
So you're telling me we have $11 million that we could tap into
Yes.
if this all falls through?
We do. Yes. Under my CIP line for the water relocation, the water transmission, that was part of the transmission study. This project was not part of it, so we would put this one at the beginning to push future projects out. But yes.
And
Yes, ma'am.
who is our Commonwealth Transportation Board person?
Actually, Malwin is now from Papco Oil.
Malvin. Uh-huh.
Malvin. They reshuffled around, and I think we wound up losing one of our positions, so we only have now one rep here for our region, which is Mr. Malwin with Papco. Any other questions or comments? I have spoke. Yeah, Dr. Willis.
Just clarification, the joint effort with Norfolk, Norfolk having already had the engineering services, the architect services.
They have Michael Baker
Okay,
as an annual
right.
service engineer.
And this is the one where we're doing the cooperative agreement with them? Okay, I'm clear.
So that agreement is independent of the grant funding.
Right, okay.
And I met with Mayor Frame in Norfolk as well as John Ronhart with the port. And this, because initially the the Secretary of Transportation wanted to take it out of the House Bill 2315 or whatever that money was, because he didn't think that was the appropriate pot, and they thought this rail enhancement fund would be the better shot, and so we all kind of agreed.
Me.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to share that the original agreement regarding this railway and the water line was made in 1963. So we're moving forward. This is something that they envisioned and put in an agreement in 63 that's now finally coming to fruition of a need to move.
Yeah, the agreement, the cooperative agreement I was speaking of was the engineer
Right.
that we used.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll move to our next presentation, Lake Kilby Water Treatment Plant, Filter Upgrade Project.
This presentation is to update you on the filter upgrade project at the Lake Kilby Water Treatment Facility. The design engineer for this project is CH2M Hill, and they are with us tonight and represented by Ed Snyder, the senior project engineer on this project. The city of Portsmouth derives its drinking water from 4 city-owned lakes located in Suffolk. These are Lakes Kilby, Cahoon, Mead, and Space Run. The treatment plant is located adjacent to Lakes Kilby and Mead, as depicted on this photo. The Department of Public Utilities developed and implemented a safe drinking water response program to comply with existing and future regulations by means of a phased construction improvement plan. As part of this program, a master plan to make improvements to the infrastructure at the treatment plant was developed in 1981 and last updated in 1992. The construction of these filters is the 4th and final phase of that plan. This project will replace 16 existing filters of various sizes and ages, the oldest dating to the 1940s. This project will include construction of 8 new deep bed filters. In addition, the project includes installation of UV treatment for secondary disinfection, and it also has the ability to incorporate ozone treatment should future regulations require it. This slide provides a bird's eye view of the construction associated with this project. This project presented many challenges, including site constraints imposed by existing structures and the continued operation of the treatment plant while construction is underway. To minimize construction costs and to reduce the impact to operations, as much of the existing infrastructure and buildings were incorporated into the design, and I will touch on a few of those highlights now. Construction will begin with the demolition of abandoned sedimentation basins 4 through 6. In this area, the new filter complex and administrative facility will be constructed and house the new deep bed filters. The interior of the existing filter building will be modified to house the air scour and backwash system associated with construction and operation of these new filters. Filters 11 through 16 in the existing filter building will be taken out of service and the interior walls of this structure demolished, allowing for modification of the current structure to house the new UV facility. The footprint of Basin 6, in the footprint of Sediment Basin 6, the filter backwash tanks will be constructed to house processed water used during the cleansing of new filters. In addition, chemical feed pumps and tanks will also be constructed here. The existing residual tank located at the top of the page will be retrofitted with new hardware to increase efficiency in keeping sludge fluid. And finally, the new parking will be provided. New parking will be provided for plant staff. We are currently permitted at 33 million gallons per day for production. However, our standard average is about 17 million gallons. The 8 filter buildings, or the 8 filters, will allow production of 24 million gallons. And this additional space for expanding the plant will allow us the space to go from 8 filters to 10 filters if future demands require that we have 33 million gallons in production.
And we're right now, we're certified and permitted for?
We're permitted for 33.
Okay.
But our typical production is around 17 and a half million. But to avoid spending now that we don't need, we've allowed the space for it for installation, but we're not going to install them right now.
And I know when this was initially presented to us, Aaron, that we had talked about how we take down certain phases of the 16 filters and incorporate the new ones. How many can we take down at one time of the old ones?
About half. We're going to do half and half.
So we can take down 8. The other 8 will be able to allow us to, our demand
To keep
without
demand.
disruption.
There will be no disruption during
Okay, and then the 8 new filters naturally are going to be bigger than the ones that
They
we're
are.
building. But do we need all of them operating at one time, or does each filter have a rated capacity?
They're all rated the same, but we will have them for redundancy. While we don't need to have them all, if we have to take 1 or 2 of them out of line while we're cleaning them, or if we're having service operations, we want to have the 8 so that we have a backup should something go on. So this slide provides a 3D rendering of the completed project. And as shown here, a majority of the new facility will be located here, which is the footprint of our abandoned sediment basin. This is the new filter building and complex and the new backwash, waste tank, and chemical storage. And then these outlying buildings around the perimeter will be retrofitted for new processes, pumps, pipes, and the like. The design of the project is complete and ready for construction. We have received approval from both the City of Suffolk and the Virginia Department of Health. And the Department of Public Utilities is anticipating bidding of this project this winter with an estimated construction cost of approximately $35 million. And this final slide shows our scheduled path forward to completion. We will be holding a mandatory pre-bid meeting at Lake Kilby for all interested contractors, and will also afford each contractor one additional visit to observe the site in more detail. We anticipate award of this project this spring and to be under construction by summer. This project is estimated to take approximately 3 years to complete.
Now, let me just ask from a contracting standpoint, we're going to be handling all this in-house with our contracts folks, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so all of the bidding and all of the
Yep.
language is going to be put in.
It's already
We're
gone
going to make
through
sure that
purchasing and
there's
legal.
language in there that talks about women-owned and minority-owned businesses having a piece of this $35 million work, correct? That language is going to be in our contract or in our RFQ.
I'm saying yes.
A piece at competitive pricing?
Yes.
Okay.
We already.
So a question on the proposed schedule. You have that there's a mandatory pre-bid meeting
Yes.
in late February. Any specific dates that you have in mind?
It will depend on when we actually will send out the bid. We give them
Okay.
about 3 weeks to review the plans and specs, and then we hold a mandatory pre-bid. So that date will be determined based on our bid date.
Right, that's why so when you send the bid out, how soon will the pre-bid meeting be?
About 3 weeks.
Okay, because that has been an issue with the scheduling of pre-bid meetings and the minority women contractors having proper notice. And your bid opening date is also, you have that as late March. So do you have any concrete dates as far as when this is going to?
I don't have concrete dates. It'll all depend on when we award it.
Okay.
It's about a 2-month process from the time we bid it to the time we send out the bid to the time we open the bid.
Will you know better by next meeting what these dates are looking like?
Possibly.
Can we get a up,
We can-
if it's okay with council?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, what we will do, Dr. Whitaker, and what I had said in meeting with Mrs. Tremere and our procurement, Mr. Almonds, is that we want to make sure when the before the mandatory pre-bid meeting, that there is far advance and advertising so that those who are interested will know and have a good time frame to participate and get what they need. So that discussion or comments have already been made. So by the 26th, we will get with Mr. Ammons and Mrs. Tremere to see if we can have those dates.
Okay.
And I think one of the
This is
concerns.
a long-anticipated project as well.
Yeah.
This is
One of the concerns though, Aaron, I think is, and speaking as a contractor now, not the mayor, when you have something of this magnitude to go out, and I don't feel that I can do the whole thing, but I can do a part of it, if it's not written in such a way that the prime folks will come out, and if I can just do the parking lot, or I can do the striping, or I can do some pipe work, if it's not written in such a way that those people come and solicit for small businesses and minority and women-owned, then those people don't feel the need to come to a pre-bid meeting or anywhere else because they think the deck's stacked and somebody's going to get it, and then that person is going to go use whoever he normally gets. So I don't know if that's where you're going with your line of question, but that's what some of us small guys do when we see things like this. So if it's not written in the way, it's too big, they bundle it all together, and and we don't want you to break it down by line item so some guy can do something, but it needs to be the language that whoever the primes are or whoever they need to come with those folks in their bid package, or favoritism will be shown to folks that did go out and try to use small local businesses that could do some of this work.
Right.
Because a lot of that stuff can be performed locally, even though the guy that wins this thing probably won't be locally if somebody out of town feels that this is something that they want to come and set up camp with. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, in keeping with that, when the bid is sent, will it be as one whole package of approximately a $35 million deal, or will it be broken out into some smaller pieces?
It's planned as one project.
It's planned as one project, but the question I hear the mayor is saying that in big projects like this, consideration being given for some of the pieces in the big project broken out, that maybe a small company can, the word partnering may not be the right word. Joint venture with, I'm a whatever, and you're the big, but you will contract with me to get this done. That is what the mayor said, and that's what.
Councilman Mix, you're in that business. I mean, how would you look at something like that if you couldn't do it, or would you even, you've been a small business owner, would you go after it, or?
You just got to set parameters for small business, women-owned, and have like 20% is small business, 20% is women-owned minority, and then make the. CM2 Hill, they'll find them.
Yeah, they're the major company, but they could find them. They are a major company.
I dealt with them in ECR and a bunch of them in the past. So,
have our procurement policies not been conforming to those procedures?
I cannot speak to
requests for proposals and requests for qualifications.
Definitely in any procurement.
So we've been following federal and state
definitely following
guidelines.
We definitely, I would say, the city of Portsmouth has been following state and federal guidelines in the bid processes across the city. I would say that.
But I think
the particulars of specifying opportunities where smaller companies can participate in the bid process, I would say probably has not been done to that specification. And that's just me speaking. I am my 134th day. But I will make sure that looking at the bid package and process, that we make it that an opportunity for whomever in Portsmouth or whatever.
I just want to make sure we're not moving to start micromanaging that process so it becomes politicized.
Right. We definitely would not want to politicize any of our contracts, and we definitely want to follow all procurement law of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Well, yes, sir. It's not a matter of micromanaging for political reasons. It's out of fairness. The term debundling the contracts, that is what has been suggested to not just encourage the primes to contract with minority women-owned businesses, but to debundle them so that those firms can actually bid on them independently. And so just the partnering strategy, that's one, but opportunities to debundle the contract into smaller pieces, that gives them some independence in bidding on the contract.
The problem with that,
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Meeks.
I mean, and I'm not here to debate. I'm just, you need to have one, because that bond that you're putting up is going to be a $35 million bond.
$35 million.
And you have to set, I mean, just pick up the newspaper or Builders Exchange, any of them, Contractors Exchange. What they do is, and I'm pretty, the other cities, they put 20% for minority, 20% for small business, and if you don't hit your goal, you don't get that money. So it forces the contractor to break the things out, like Mr. Whitaker's saying, to make sure those are hit. You know, so that money spreads and they don't self-perform the whole project.
Right.
I think we're saying the same thing, but that debundling is a piece that, and you said how long, 3 years?
It's a 3-year project.
If it's a 3-year deal, if it isn't something that gets into the bonding and all that, if there's opportunities for some of that debundling for miscellaneous things that smaller people can get. I mean, because I think we've sat up here and talked around this whole small business, people here locally that could do things in there, from painting to anything else. We just need to be conscious of that and not just let one person come and do this and there's nothing in the language, and then we're in here talking about, well, next time we'll do this and next time we'll put that word in it. There's language out there that's legal, that covers all of that, like Mr. Meeks and Dr. Whitaker just said. So let's just make sure we stay on that path. Okay.
And our final project.
So can we get an update on that at the next meeting?
Yes.
Next meeting?
How we proceeding?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'll have an update at the next meeting.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, our next and final presentation will be a project update on the downtown sewer and water rehabilitation project, Phase 2.
I'm good.
My final presentation tonight is on the next phase of the Downtown Master Utility Plan. Public Utilities developed a Master Utility Plan in 2008, dividing the downtown area into 4 quadrants. The plan evaluated the area for condition of assets, hydraulics, and incorporated future needs of development. Phase 1 of the plan was completed in November of last year. In both projects, the city has procured the service of their annual contractor, Draper Aden, for design and construction administration. Phase 2 incorporates an area of approximately 80 acres bound to the east and north by Crawford Street and Parkway, to the south by High Street, and to the west by Washington Street. However, a project of this size presents implementation challenges, including holding contract costs for a duration exceeding 2 to 3 years. Therefore, we've broken Phase 2 into 2 sub-projects for bidding purposes, with a dividing line at Court Street, which is shown right here. So this is Phase 2A of the project. Thankfully, this worked for both management of the project and for drainage design of the area. Right now, project plans for the entire project area are 90% complete. The design concept of this phase is in keeping with the master plan and the successful completion of Phase 1. The purpose of this project is to replace aged water and sanitary sewer assets, a third of which date back to 1910. In addition, the stormwater system has been evaluated and will be replaced or rehabilitated as needed. While the project will improve drainage, this project will not eliminate flooding associated with large storm events. In addition, this project will ensure that infrastructure is in place to support future development. All of this will be accomplished while at the same time making every effort to minimize impact the construction of this magnitude has on residents and businesses. Unlike Phase 1, where restoration was from right-of-way to right-of-way, majority of restoration in Phase 2 will be curb to curb or confined within the roadway. This will allow for replacement of mainline infrastructure in the streets while minimizing impacts to curbs and sidewalks. The sanitary sewer laterals will be replaced from right-of-way to right-of-way and cleanouts installed.
Go ahead, let her finish and then we'll go back through there because I know where you're going.
Okay. While the water lines will be replaced to the meter. Where sidewalks and curbs or driveways are impacted, restoration will be in kind.
Good.
Another reason for confining restoration to the streets is to minimize the impact to trees. Public Utilities had the area extensively evaluated by both a licensed arborist and a landscape architect, and the results of that study recommended confining utility work to the smallest footprint possible.
This is the important piece.
No, go ahead. I'll let you finish. and then we'll-
In the historic area, restoration of pavements has presented some concerns for citizens. Public Utilities has had several meetings with civic leagues and community members and listened to their concerns. We have researched the pavement system of surrounding historic districts, including Williamsburg, Yorktown, and Alexandria. In addition, we have reviewed our National Historic Registry designation. While the registration references granite curbs, brick sidewalks, and the layout grid pattern of the streets, it makes no reference to the pavement type. To produce brownstone or the river rock treated asphalt discussed during our meetings requires an asphalt plant to take their production line off and make small batches of this particular mix. This would result in an increase of construction costs. As a result of our discussions and the information we've gathered, it is recommended the city recommends replacement of the roadway surfaces with typical asphalt. This will not only reduce the initial cost of construction, but also have long-term maintenance cost reductions. In addition, having a standard asphalt will avoid the look of a patchwork quilt associated with future spot repairs or work done by outside contractors and utilities. Furthermore, it will also eliminate the potential for the asphalt rocks or excess chemicals from the pavement treatment from migrating into the storm drains. A project of this magnitude has an impact to residents and businesses within the area. With this in mind, the project is implemented with the approach to minimize inconvenience. We've divided Phase 2A into 21 sub-work zones. This will require full road closure of each area. This will allow the contractor full access to the site, but will require him to complete all work, including restoration of the roadway and sidewalks. This approach deviates from typical construction where a contractor will install the water line and then the sewer line and then come back and do full pavement restoration. This will reduce the area from being under construction for an extended period of time and reduce the impact to residents and businesses to a duration of approximately 2 to 4 months. Prior and during construction, the Department of Public Utilities works closely with all emergency services, waste management, schools, and other outside agencies to make sure that these services are maintained throughout construction. In addition, residents and businesses will continue to have pedestrian access to their property, although on-street parking will not be available in a work zone while it is under construction. In addition, residents and businesses will be notified in advance of any service interruption associated with transferring services from old to new lines. While the city works with Draper Aden to complete the final plans in preparation for a March bid date, Public Utilities will continue to their community outreach. This will include a meeting with the Old Town Civic League later this month and meeting with the Old Town Business Association at their meeting at the beginning of February. In addition, Public Utilities will hold an open house to provide residents and businesses the opportunity to come and discuss the project in detail with Public Utilities and the design engineer as that pertains to their specific property. We will also continue to post updates on the city website, cable channel,
First of all, let me go to Mr. Meeks.
Well, with a project this size, what's the reason in not doing the curb and the sidewalk? Because I don't see us ever having an opportunity to do it anytime later, and it's just going to cost us more later on than if we do it now.
Oh, this is a utility project?
Well, we did the sidewalk and curb with
We
the
did.
previous one.
We did.
So why would we change the scope of work?
Well, in doing the sidewalks, and particularly, actually both the sidewalks and the curb, the impact to the trees is significant. It significantly increases the cost. There's a lot of drainage issues when we start messing with the curb and the sidewalks. If you've walked through Old Town, you see a lot of this going up and down.
Yeah, but you're gonna do a whole quarter of Old Town, and we will never be able to go back and do the curb and fix the drainage. Why don't we do it now?
Well, the drainage will be improved. A lot of the drainage issues are associated with the fact that we've come in and paved over the street, and you've got curbs that are just a couple inches as opposed to having a full 6 to 8. So the surface drainage will be taken care of a great deal.
On the last one, we had a $2 million change order. $2 million. Remember that?
To go from doing restoration within the roadway to doing full right-of-way to right-of-way restoration.
No, it was a pipe that had to be replaced that we did in like '85. They said
Oh, the water line, yes, the
Yeah.
water transmission line, right.
it was a $2 million cost to the citizens. So you're telling me is that we can go later on and do the sidewalks and curbs cheaper than we can when we tear up the roads? Because these roads are going to get tore up. The asphalt's going all the way to the curb, right? If you go ahead and do the curb and the sidewalk and the curb, then when you lay your asphalt, you're not going to be able to go back and replace those curbs and gutters and the sidewalk later on. Not without impacting the asphalt. And you made a comment in your presentation. This is going to help us limit patches in our new asphalt. You go down not every street, but most of the streets we just did, and we got patches, and we accepted that.
We haven't accepted them. A majority of them we haven't. The one out here on Columbia Street, all of those will be milled and overlaid upon completion of those construction projects.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't think we can sit here and not do the curb and sidewalk right now. I
think my concern is the inconsistency of how information is conveyed to this council. And the last time we undertook this,
We're doing all
the
of it.
previous manager, the previous director wanted us to tap into general fund money to pay another $800,000 or $900,000 to do the sidewalks. And when we pushed back, and they went, well, we can get it out of the utility money, and they made the argument for doing just what Mr. Meeks said. And now here, you in here saying the tree concerns and all of that. It's just, I mean, it just causes council, it causes me to be concerned as to, whether or not, we're doing what's in the best interest for not only downtown, but the taxpayers. And why all of a sudden now, we don't want to do that when we did it on the other piece.
Well,
You understand the inconsistency?
Let me ask a question,
Okay.
Mayor, please.
I think it was about $800,000, and they tried to get it out of the general
Because it
fund.
was going to be 18 inches versus all the way.
Right.
And we went, no way, we're not going in the general fund. And then all of a sudden, the manager comes back and says, oh, there's a provision in the utility money that allow us to do that. So never mind, we need to do the sidewalks, and now you're totally ignoring them.
there are a couple differences in the two areas. The phase one that we just completed, we were taking out curb and gutter and doing full restoration. We are leaving the existing granite in place.
Granite. So if we take out granite,
Yeah, but a lot of that granite's in bad shape and leaning and
No,
tilting.
it's actually, it's in pretty decent shape.
Actually, even in the pictures in bad shape. When you
but
put
in
it,
his,
but
I think that, and this is just my thought, in granite in a historic district is not as simple as just removing granite and then replacing it with concrete.
Well, we don't want to do that.
No.
That's not,
But I'm saying the
They'll come out of the woodworks on that one.
the cost of granite, which you had spoken of.
Right.
Do you have an idea what the cost would be?
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
say,
what we wanna
we need to know the depth
I can
of.
get you those numbers.
Yes,
the
we can
cost
get
and
that.
the
We
numbers
can, no,
of
we'll
that.
get you cost on
Right.
all of what we're proposing.
I can give you a cost
Yeah.
to do it this way and a cost of full restoration.
right.
I can
Mr.
provide
Meeks
that.
brings up a valid
Right,
point, but
and you
as
do.
you were talking, I'm sitting here listening.
Yeah.
When Brian first stood up and John and everything you just said and what they
Right.
said was totally different. I
Right.
was like,
We will come back with a full report on the cost of sidewalk restoration or
Yeah,
replacement.
I mean, they've never been redone.
No, probably
They're
not.
never gonna get redone.
Right.
They're all like this. I mean,
Right.
it's the oldest part of the city.
But if you're gonna tear up the street,
You might as well do
you
it.
might as well fix it.
One thing's for sure, if you're gonna do it, you don't do it now. If you do it later, it's gonna cost more.
More.
Right.
Well,
But we're not gonna do it right.
Yeah.
We should do it now or never.
Right, you know,
But-
Not in our lifetime.
But
Later.
why have we reversed using the utility fund to address the curbs and gutters?
I couldn't answer that right
but
now.
they haven't. They just don't want to address the curb
They
and
didn't say
gutter.
that. They didn't say that.
If
They didn't say we couldn't
No.
use utility fund. She just said she wasn't going to.
Right, I will,
do it.
Mayor, I will come back with, on the 26th,
You
with an
still probably have
update
to
on
use
this
utility fund
project.
because we don't have the money anywhere else.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, we definitely won't get it out of the general
So-
fund. Yeah, that would be nice. Give us a cost
I'll come back
of
on
what
the
it would cost to
26th.
do that.
Okay.
And maybe we ought to look at the previous presentation that was given to us and
I
what
will-
are some of the points on
I
that.
will go back and look at that.
Okay.
I would, thank you, Mrs. Tremere, for the
thank you.
presentations. Mayor, I would like to say in closing that the Department of Public Utilities would like to extend an invitation for the members of City Council to visit Lake Kilby water treatment plant over the next 2 weeks. And with each council's concurrence, or you all, the mayor determine you all want to, then we will get with Mrs. White to schedule such.
So you don't have any proposed times right now?
Not right now, because we will get that, getting
I
with
think that's a
the,
great idea. I
City
think when we
clerk.
talked about it the last time, we talked about going out and looking at those pieces and what we had there. And so I think that's a great
it would be
idea. I
great if
think
we
we ought
could
to
get
schedule
two,
something.
and go out.
No, we can get a van and put everybody on it that want to go. We don't need to do two.
As long as we take the porter with us.
And then the reporter want to go, she
All
can
right, so
go.
Mrs. White
Yeah,
will
but
make
no,
those
we
arrangements.
get a
and we'll get them
van,
some
schedule it for a particular time.
All
and
right.
That best suits all of us and then go.
That's Ms. Summers what our schedule is.
Yeah,
That's what our schedule
We'll get the
is.
schedule in advance.
Oh, it's about Portsmouth, it's open.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of City Council, this concludes our presentation for this evening's public work session.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Unrelated question, but still on engineering type things. I know not prepared to answer this tonight, but
Okay.
at our next meeting, I noticed that the Crofton is back working on the seawall between the two
I've got that
ferry
report.
landings.
I've got the report.
Love to have an update for.
Can we do that? You want to do it now? Or you want to do it tonight in the public work session?
Do it
Let's
down
get it
there.
now. Let's
You
talk
got
about it.
it,
If you
sure.
got it, yeah.
I know all the
Because
people
I
who
did.
walk and jog and stroll their babies
They
are
all
dying to
ask.
know.
All right, it's quite lengthy, but let me give it to you. Admiral's Landing to the Renaissance Hotel, the boardwalk was removed by Marine Contracting over the summer. The emergency bracing project for this area was advanced to Crofton Diving in September. Construction operations for the project started last week and will take approximately 90 days to complete. Work will progress from Admiral's Landing towards the Renaissance. Operations occur from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. All work is being conducted from the water using barges. Vibration monitoring is being conducted for the duration of the project. The steel H-pile bracing assemblies are being placed at the final locations for the seawall replacement project. Area 3 and Area 1 from High Street Inlet to City Hall. Construction plans for the replacement of these seawall sections is at 90%. The goal is to advertise the combining set by the end of the month. Since the sections are similarly constructed, there is an expectation of savings due to economies of scale and a single mobilization. Funding is in place to award Area 3 and the bid such that the work can start soon after the bracing project is completed, and the specifications will be written so that Area 1 can be awarded prior to the end of July, with the anticipation that funding will be available. Area 3 is scheduled to reopen by the end of spring 2016.
So how is is our engineer here?
Yes.
How is the actual, where's he at? I'm interested, oh, he's not here?
No, Mr. Wright is not here,
Okay,
yes.
all right, well, I'm concerned about the amount of deterioration, how much shoring and all of that. The last time we got a little updated, I think they did some
I will
UT
have that before
and
this
things
meeting.
like that for the metal and the whole bracing fee. Yeah.
The rate of deterioration.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have that for
That'll be
you
fine.
by the 7 o'clock.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
thank you.
All right, and we also have the revised
Oh, yes.
vision principles here for everybody to review. And we will actually vote on this and sign off on this at the next meeting. Is that
Right.
correct, Madam
Yes, the
Clerk?
26th meeting.
The 26th meeting. So if you would read over that, we've been incorporated various council persons' comments and made it applicable to where we're going forward toward year 2030. So if you have any other comments or concerns there, please let the clerk and the manager know. If not, we'll take this action at the next meeting. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, are there any other liaison reports or, yes?
On EDA, just to really let the public know more than anything, the Economic Development Authority did move its office location at the end of December and is currently located on the 5th floor here in City Hall. They're up and operational. It looks very nice, and I would encourage folks to go take a look. The EDA board took a tour a week ago when we had, or a few weeks ago when we had our meeting, just to take a look. They had just moved in a few days before, but it's looking nice.
Okay, very good. Any other reports, liaison? Okay. At this time, we got to entertain a motion to go into closed session.
No.
Where is the,
Yeah, we don't all at one.
Just a second.
okay.
I'm sorry.
So I'm sure.
Thank you.
Deborah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Somebody want to take it?
I move to go into closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code subsection 2-2.2, 3711A.6, A.7 for the purpose of discussion or consideration of the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where if made public initially, the financial interests of the city would be adversely affected, and for the purpose of consultation with legal counsel employed by the city as to a legal matter requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel specifically regarding the Commons at Portsmouth Center, and pursuant to Virginia Code subsection 2.2-3711A.7 for the purpose of consultation with legal counsel pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation and open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the city, specifically regarding claims by the estate of Walter Brown against the city and by the estate of William Chapman against Stephen Rankin and or the city, and pursuant to Virginia Code subsection 2.2-3711A.1 for purpose of discussing the performance of a member of City Council.
So second.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Dr. Edmonds?
Yes.
Mr. Meeks?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Ms. Simmons?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mayor Wright?
Yes.
We are in closed. Thank you.